Hi everyone, this is a Vissim video and I got a question on how to model when two intersections are close to each other with parking. So in this video I will try to show that. There is a four-leg intersection on the left and the T intersection on the right, and there is parking between the two on one direction. So just to clarify, I'm using static routes and vehicle inputs. So where to start? First, once you build your model, you place vehicle inputs on all entrances. And you need to calculate how much you input after you know your turning counts. So basically, vehicles can't appear or disappear here. You don't have a third access or exit. So if you want to know how much gets into this intersection, you need to calculate how many vehicles turn left from here and how many go straight from there. And that's what you need to basically just add up. If you know that if you have 100 vehicles coming here, and 50% turns left, 50% turns right, so that means from here 50. From here the same, 50 goes straight, 50 turns left, then it's 50. So you need to add 50, 50 to go that way. But to calculate in total, it's going to be 100 from here because 50 goes here, 50 goes there, and same from there, from there. So you just calculate it that way. Once you added your vehicle inputs, where you select your, I don't want to go into a lot of details because I have other videos about that. So you set up your vehicle composition, you add your volumes to the vehicle inputs, and you can do routings in different ways. I prefer to do it, and I think it makes it easier when you deal with intersections separately. So in this case, I have this routing from the west, going there, and going there. And you can define the turning proportions here. I have for each 15-minute period a different one. But if you don't want that, in time intervals, here you select vehicle routes, static, and I have added these before, but if you don't need those, you just delete them. And then from 0 to max you have that. So now if I go back, you select this one, you see there is only one relative flow. That applies for the whole period. But that's the way you can define multiple ones. That by selecting it in time intervals, the time interval, and then you can just set up multiple ones. So if you go back, you can see that from this movement, I can set up the left, the straight, and the right turn, and you can just put an arbitrary number here, or you can just put any number. This is a relative flow, so Vissim will add these up and calculate the proportions accordingly. But you can just put percentages there anyway. It will just calculate, summarize them, and divide to calculate the split. So as you can see, I only direct vehicle up to the first link, basically, so just spreading them out. If I check this one, this also has one to the left, through, and right. So that will put vehicles onto this link. As you can see from right, after that, I have a new static route. I just leave a bit of distance between them, so if vehicles drive with high speed, it's good to have a simulation step at least when they get off the previous one and when the next one they get onto the next one. So it's good to have a few meters probably. And this one puts vehicles into different exits. So this one goes 50% this way, 50% that way. If you look into this one, from here also I have 50% this way, 50% that way. But it's important to see that this ends after the car park. After the car park here. After that, I have a new static routing that sets this intersection again, how vehicles are split. And this one, again, 50% here, 50% there. However, when you have a parking, it's important to set up a parking route here. That parking route will take priority, will take over the guidance. So when vehicle arrive from here and when vehicle arrive from here, so the south or the east, once they pass that, if the settings are right and the spaces, so if the vehicle can park here and need to park there, then it will have the parking routing decision taking over the static route. After the vehicle parked, the vehicle will leave the car park and gets back here where it still goes on, it continues on its own static route it had earlier until it reaches this point. This point the vehicle will go back to nothing and then we'll pick up this static routing and then we'll be guided through that intersection. So if I run the model, it runs quite fast, but what you will see, so if I take this vehicle, I select different routing decision types so we can see the what number is the routing decision, parking route, routing decision number, route number, routing decision type, static routes. So now you can see that the route decision type is parking lot because it is parking. But if we wait a little bit, so this vehicle is on a static route, 15.2, so from like there, it's on that one. But once that vehicle passes that, it becomes parking lot. And then it goes there, parks, and now let's go back to this one. It just finished the parking maneuver and it is still on the parking lot. But if we go back to static now, after finishing parking, once it will pass the end of its trip, this one, 16.1, 16-1, it will become nothing, and then once it passes that one, it picks up the new static, and that new static will guide it into the next one. And so this is how you do parking between intersections, and when you have static routes. You just need to be careful that a static route or a partial or a static route and or a partial route always include fully the parking lot, because what happens is it needs to be on a static route to guide the vehicle through the network. And while it is on it, then you need to drive it through a parking decision. And once the parking decision is done, then a bit after, you need to finish your static route. So it needs to go back to the static route. So when it finishes parking, it knows where to go. Because if you have two connectors here leaving the network, it wouldn't know which one to take. It would just leave on one that is the earlier or the first one available. And once it's done, then you can assign a new static route if you before the new intersection or for the next intersection. This was a bit more like an example video, but if you have questions, how to do things, just in the comment section you can always ask your question. And if you want to support my channel, please consider commenting, liking and subscribing. And also if you want to sign up as a member, if you want to support me with some price of a coffee, maybe you can go to the Patreon page I have description. You can find in the description the link, or on YouTube you can also sign up. But thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next one.